Okay, I'm actually curious about this game. I'm genuinely curious because this is Arc Raiders is the. Sorry, my brain went somewhere else. I was thinking about how cool it would be if I started doing videos like this and I changed my complete style of YouTube to doing reviews. Not going to happen, but that would be cool. Anyway, Arc Raiders is, I believe, the game from the finals in Bark Studios that made the finals, and then they made a battle royale slash, maybe not battle royale, extraction shooter, I think, and this is their extraction shooter.
Cast for their upcoming game, Arc Raiders. Well, I got to spend some time playing it over the course of a couple of days, and now, as of today, the verbal NDA on this test has been...
You can try it for a bit. I feel like I have the pull to be able to try games like this and do reviews because, you know, I'm with Loaded, an agency who has conversations with all these developers. And if they just said like, hey, reviews, and then like I get review copies and I do a lot of off-stream stuff, that sounds really fun. Like part of growing up was watching two things. One, reviews of new games that I was excited for, or two, Let's Plays when the game comes out, and then that gauges my interest on if I want to play because I watch the Let's Play and then I play the game and probably pirate it because I was like 10 years old or whatever the f. Anyway, lock the f in. Let's watch this video.
Lifted, so I can share with you information about the game and talk about my experience. However, unfortunately, no gameplay recording was allowed during the test. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure why this was the case because the game ran well, it seemed quite polished, and I don't think we saw a single bug in the whole test. But regardless, the good news...
Wait, so this is a review, hands-on impression, but he can't use his own footage? Well, this might suck. Not because of him, but I don't know, it's weird.
News is we still can talk about the game.
Asmund would never talk about the Kardashians, only about Kanye. Why? Why did you type that? And better yet, why did I read that?
Game, and I do have a couple of matches worth of new gameplay B-roll, so we're going to run that while we're talking about things here. Okay, so what is Arc Raiders? Well, when it was first...
Why are you pausing every 2 seconds?
Revealed back in 2021, this was a looter shooter, but that has since changed, and it is now a PvEVP extraction game. Now, fortunately for me, I like both of these genres, but if you were hoping for a looter shooter similar to The Division, Warframe, or Destiny, well, that is just no longer what they're making. And as an aside, I will add that I am a little bit disappointed with this
it's like looking in a fucking mirror, you know? It's like looking in a fucking mirror. This is so weird. I feel like it's 2020 again, dude. It's so weird.
Shift in direction. For one, because I enjoy looter shooters, so I would have liked to see a new one of those. But two, because from what I've played so far, this game actually seems pretty good. And the
Stop wanting to... why am I reading these things? Sorry.
PvE side of things in particular seems quite fleshed out with a bunch of
You aren't that handsome or healthy looking. Bro! This is a Grayson stream now? What the f? Why is everyone shitting on me? I like it. Keep it up.
Interesting enemy types and a cool world that I think it would have very well made, or could have made at least, a great new installment into the looter shooter genre. But alas, that alternative reality doesn't exist on this timeline, and what we are getting is now an extraction game. Like I said, I enjoy these as well. I just would have also enjoyed seeing the looter shooter version of what Arc Raiders was supposed to be. Now, with that out of the way though, let me just say, it seems like a pretty darn good extraction game from what I've played over this weekend. I was quite impressed with the preview, just about everything about it, from the overall gameplay and the design.
I can't keep reading these comments or else I'll never finish this video. I could see how an Asmongold video turns into an hour. I could see it. I understand.
To the visuals, the animations, and even the game's performance, everything had a high degree of quality and polish across the board. I mean, I really enjoyed, I had a blast playing this game over the past couple of days during this test, and this has convinced me that I will certainly be playing it once again whenever the next one rolls around or come the official release. From my time with it so far, Arc Raiders is looking pretty darn good. So let's talk a bit about the game. The basic structure and gameplay loop you'll probably be familiar with if you've ever played any extraction game in the past. You will drop in with a starter set of weapons and consumables. You'll scavenge looking around the environment, searching for loot, resources, and weapons and gear. You'll fight enemies, both PvE with various types of robot drones in this game, as well as of course other players because it is PvE-VP, and as of now those other players will come in group sizes of up to 3. Audio plays a major role. Every single action, movement, opening containers, attacks, everything has a distinct sound.
This looks like Battlefront 2. The art style and like the lighting and shit. It looks good. Like visually, it actually looks good. The animations look good. I like, once again, I wish we saw his footage. This is probably old footage, which kind of stinks, but
associated with it, and as such,
this is actually the old DICE devs. Oh, that's right. Embark with the finals. That makes sense. This, like, look at this. This looks like you're playing Battlefront 2 where you have the little blaster. You're playing like the officer role or whatever, where you hit the AoE button and it gives you like health and shit. Literally, that's what it looks like.
The more you play, the more you learn what everything means, and this is going to help aid you in either attacking, hiding, or running from other players.
Reused assets? Honestly, maybe. Dude, even the running animation, maybe, but it doesn't matter as long as the game's good. Reusing assets and stuff is literally like nowadays kind of needed with how long it takes to make a game.
If you survive and manage to extract without dying, you will then keep everything that you collected in the process. And then post-game, you unload all of your winnings into this stash, then you pick what you want to bring with you into the next round, and then you queue up to go again, rinse and repeat. That is the general gist of it. That's very similar to a lot of extraction games. Now let's talk some of the things that are really specific to Arc Raiders. For one, the game setting and the general vibe of it is all heavily inspired by popular science fiction from the 1970s. You can see this most clearly with the character designs, the outfits, and even the color palette screams 70s. Gotta say, I like it. A little bit of a different setting than what I'm used to playing in. I think they've done a pretty good job here. The PvE enemies in this game are also rather unique. They're called the Arc, and this consists of a large variety of different robots and drones. There are tiny spiders that will jump up and cling to your face. There are small flamethrower balls that'll roll up to you, open up, and then blast you with fire. There are larger spheres that will spin up and charge at you at high speed, leaving a trail of flames in their wakes and then running into you. There are much bigger spiders that have like a bunch of lunging attacks and just are menacing on their own. And then there's numerous flying drones with several types, each having their own function. You'll see ones with assault rifles that shoot tasers that will stun you and lock you in place. There are ones that have rocket launchers attached to them. And then there's even alarm drones that will scan.
I feel like binoculars in video games, at least multiplayer PvP ones, unless your game is so huge, like they really use the binoculars, but you could literally just see. You could see that. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like most games have binoculars, they don't do anything. They don't do anything. The map doesn't seem too big.
The ground in a large vicinity, and if you are spotted, they send out a beacon which then summons reinforcements to your location. If you don't get out of there, you're going to be under a lot of fire very quickly. Now, by themselves, these enemies all pose a threat. Like, even those tiny spiders that cling to your face can be a huge problem if another drone is accompanying them, because that clinging to your face is basically a hard crowd control until you get them off, making any other enemies around you having an easier time of killing you. But then also, while you're fighting these PvE threats, you're going to be creating a ton of noise, both from the gunfire from yourself, but then also the drone that's attacking you back. But then on top of that, the drones make all sorts of loud beeps and boops that will alert any nearby players to the fact that you are engaged in combat, because by themselves, the drones aren't attacking anything unless there's another player that they spotted and are going after. So if you hear drones attacking and gunfire, that means players are in that area as well, and that draws people to that location. In fact, in nearly every case, if we were fighting these PvE enemies for more than like 20 or 30 seconds, other players would inevitably roll in to join the drones, that is, in attacking us. So typically, we would want to either avoid or dispatch of the PvE as soon as possible, and then leave the area before anyone else shows up. Or you could make a bunch of noise and then wait until other people show up and try to catch them by surprise. All sorts of play and counterplay here. But even just engaging with the PvE threats alone is interesting. The PvP side of it notwithstanding. Like, beyond them each having their own function and weaponry, they all also respond and engage differently. As I said earlier, there's enough depth here that it really makes me wonder what could have been had they continued forward with that originally planned looter shooter version of the game. I think probably what's most impressive are like all the movements and physics of this.
Judging by what I'm seeing in the gameplay, I know it's not his footage or whatever, but judging by what I'm seeing in the gameplay, this game as a looter shooter would stink. Because looter shooters, what they need to develop is that ARPG part of like player progression and player power and more skills and more abilities and faster mob clearing and, you know, numbers, doing math and all that shit. This game probably, like, they probably left that idea when they realized, like, it's just not going to work. They probably want to ground the game a little bit more, which is a good idea. This looks fine so far. I mean, I guess.
Stuff like the tiny spiders skittering along, the way the fire sphere drone spins up and accelerates towards you, the flying drones tilting as they speed forward in a direction and then swaying, rocking back and forth when they adjust angle to quickly stop themselves. Equally as impressive are the animations when attacking these things. They all appear to impact in a very realistic manner. Like, you can shoot one of the fans off of a flying drone and they will spin out accordingly, even carrying momentum.
Oh, there's a video. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was watching Arc Raiders. Yeah. But I feel like I've already seen everything I need to see, because it sucks that I don't get any footage from Force Gaming because they didn't let him record, which makes me kind of sad.